We're back with another Duet Night Abyss video. What away? Excuse me. I wanted to go over the first limited character, Psyche. This will be the first DPS limited unit. You'll have 28 days to farm them, and I want to provide to you pretty much a rough look of what their kit is going to be like. It should be very similar to what we have from the beta based on the information and gameplay we saw today. So I'm going to show you some clips, break down their kit, and really go over the nitty gritty and what is important to know. I'm going to show you this website. Some of these motion values were most likely not going to be accurate, so I'd say ignore those, but really we're going to just hone in on the almost confirmed to nearly confirmed stuff. So this is Psyche. She is a polearm assault specialist. They are a main damage dealer. They seem to have pretty decent AoE capabilities. Now, Reconnaissance weapon. This, in the beta, from what I have seen with my research, they could absolutely remove this from the game. But just to address this now, my understanding is you have your polearm and assault rifle for this character, but when they do their ultimate, it gets replaced. Both of those weapons get replaced with a signature weapon that cannot be upgraded and has static stats for that specific ultimate. So when you're not in your ultimate, you use your normal polearm and assault rifle. But when you're in your ultimate, you use your reconnaissance weapon. So keep that in mind. Could be removed, maybe not. We'll see. But that's what that means from all the research I've done. So pretty basic stuff. They have their skill, their ult, and 3 passives. The skill, Cryalis Dreamweave. So this creates one phantasm and then flashes forward. This skill can be used at any time without interrupting Psyche's current action. In flamboyant state, which means their ultimate, this skill is replaced with photo access. So right now, Phantasm says once created, the Phantasm slows down nearby enemies. After 5 seconds, it deals animal damage to nearby enemies and vanishes. When a new Phantasm is created, existing Phantasms immediately deals damage and vanishes. So if I were to show you the gameplay real quick, just to make life easy, this is going to be the Phantasm, right? So right upcoming here, they do their dash, and so this is the first one of waiting 5 seconds. You notice, boom, explosion. Pretty decent amount of AoE. Now, we don't have confirmation if this is going to slow will apply to bosses. I personally doubt it. It seems to be more of an AoE-centric DPS, but that is what the Phantasm looks like if you don't spam, right? Now, we didn't really get good footage of them spamming the E here, but you can spam it. Now, jumping the gun for a moment, just so you could see, this is the burst. This is the ultimate, the fluorescent occlusion. Now, when you're in this burst, you are in the air and able to shoot. But why? This is the normal attacks. When you're in the air, though, you can do your skill as they did right there, and that skill is going to send out homing devices that's going to attack the enemy. So they're going to do it again real quick. Bam. Sends out all those homing devices. So let's break that down, right? So, photo axis charges forward in the air and releases 16 ethereal powders. The ethereal powders automatically lock onto one enemy, dealing animal damage and inflicting 1 stack of powder stigma up to 12 stacks. Powder stigma. When a target inflicted with powder stigma takes crit damage from Psyche, 1 stack of powder stigma is consumed to deal animal damage to that target. So, you're able to get up to 12 stacks for this, which is pretty solid. Again, pretty basic stuff here. You have your normal skill, flash in, slow people down, big boom if you wait 5 seconds, or you could spam it, big boom. Now, getting into the ultimate, we saw part of what the ultimate already looks like. As you see, they're in the air, but this is where the ultimate gets very interesting. When entering flamboyant state, aka the ult, and gains the ability to fly. When in flamboyant state, Psyche can only use skills and shoot. So you're only able to use your skill and your normal attack. Continuously consume sanity, and when the sanity drops to 0 or the skill is used again, the flamboyant state ends. So I guess maybe you can only use your skill twice here. That's my understanding of it. It says again, so we'll have to see when the game drops. But when Psyche's HP percentage is above 15%, flamboyant state consumes HP instead of sanity. The consumed HP will be converted into ultra shield at a certain percentage. So, shout out to Mello. Mello is goated. Everyone go follow my boy Mello. We're going to show you this footage of how this works. So, if you can see by normal attacks again, it seems pretty AoE focused. You'll see it in a moment, but he's going to activate the ultimate right now. Now, it uses a little bit of sanity to go through, but notice when he's shooting, the green bar on the bottom, the health is going down, and he's getting a purple number there. This purple number is that extra shield that is regenerating. It says plus 126 here at the bottom on top of the 727. So now once we go actually into gameplay here, I'll rewind for a moment. You can see again, very big AoE, big swings and whatnot, capturing everyone around them. They're going to activate their ultimate in a moment. Once they activate the ultimate, he starts doing shooting, and you can see here again, they are getting, instead of the sanity being consumed on the bottom right, the 227, we're seeing that extra shield come up. Now, keep in mind, the reason why, talking about Constellations weapon, just a sidebar, if you noticed, before the ultimate state, you had your assault rifle here, or whatever gun was equipped in this spot. When they activate the ult, you're going to see that it changes to an infinity sign in that same exact spot. So that's where I'm getting the Constellations weapon from, just so you could physically see what I'm looking at right here. But so that's how that burst is going to work, which seems pretty valid. Now, here are the passives. Amber Light. When dealing crit damage, Psyche gains one of the following buffs at random: attack boost, skill damage boost, or malaise boost. Increase Psyche's damage for each buff she gains up to 12 buffs. So it really seems like when crit is going to be a big part of this kit, right? You want to try to crit as much as possible, because once you crit, you're able to get these buffs. Now, these are the passive upgrades that we have right here. Again, ignore these motion values. Not really sure what this is. Ephemeral as Dew. This one, I'm still trying to figure out. I can't really wrap my head around this one. If you can, let me know. I don't really understand it. So it says, when using thrust and occlusion, which is the burst, if Psyche's HP percentage is above 75% or at 75, gain ephemeral as Dew. So it says here, ephemeral as Dew, when triggering the effect of morale or malaise, which you don't really know what that is, it regards Psyche's HP percentage as 1%. This effect can only be triggered once every 120 seconds. My assumption is that if it's considered as 1%, that it's going to do some sort of big burst of damage. That's why it's on a 2-minute cooldown, but I'm not too sure. Let me know if you're aware of that. And then we have the last one, Mirth Carries. Only active when deployed as a combat partner. Increase attack 50% for the character and their nearby Animo teammates. So it seems when they're a partner, you're able to get a pretty decent buff from them. And they might be promoting a little bit of a mono Animo team right here. So interested seeing how this functions. I don't know if this would be enough to pull for them, to have them as an off-fielder, but I guess we'll have to see. Now, Constellations is not 1,000,000% confirmed to stay in the game. At least, I don't know. In their last dev talk, they still mentioned getting max Intron. So, I mean, I will just go over this real quick. However, I don't know how accurate these will be. But for C1, it says using Cryolysis Dreamwave or Frodo Axis, it restores 10% of Psyche's max HP and increases Psyche's damage by 65% for 12 seconds, which seems pretty solid because, I mean, I'm going to be honest, it's pretty easy to activate these, so not a big deal there. When Ethereal Powder or Powder Stigma deals damage, there's a 35% chance to generate one phantasm at the target location. So randomly generating a skill phantasm for you off rip. And then Cryolysis Dreamweave number 3, level 2. Amber Light gives it level 1. When in flamboyant state, Psyche gains occlusion. Occlusion grants immunity to hit stun, decrease damage taken by 25%, and increases auto pickup range by 15. This is a kind of wild con, you know, pretty much getting a 25% shield right there, which is wild, and the auto pickup range is valid. And then 5 is going to just be giving you stats, and 6, during flamboyant state, increase Psyche's pen stats by 50%. So overall, this is pretty much the deal that we got going on with her. Seems to be very AoE centric focused, and you're gonna have some sort of HP meter management in her ultimate stance. Again, technically, if her ultimate duration is unlimited, we'll see like how long you could actually stay in here while it's consuming your HP. But she seems pretty promising, and I'm actually looking forward. I will probably farm this unit, hoping in which that I won't make the mistake of that, and then it's a tier one first patch DPS, and then they get out DPS or whatever. But that's the guide. So that being said, let me know what you think. I love you, and I'll see you in the next one. Mwah.